I'm handing it over to Carrie to talk about a Spanish guy.
Okay, so this Spanish dude and all these other dudes, right? They crashed on this beach. I don't know if I should look at the camera or myself.
Camera.
Okay, so they crash on this beach, right? I don't know why, but they do. Well, they're like trying not to die, and they're carrying their ship around with them, and then this guy climbs in this tree, and he sees this cattle path, so he thinks, oh, it's a bunch of white people, they live here, yay, we're okay. Well, then it turns out to be a bunch of Indians, and they're all like kind of scared of the Indians or whatever, and then they decide to go talk to them, and then the Indians start bringing them food. Well, then they decide to leave the island or whatever. They're on Galveston Island. They decide to leave. Well, their boat crashes again. I think they'd learned the first time, but they didn't. So it crashes again. Well, then after it crashes, the Indians come back and help them, and then they end up living with the Indians, and then all their little diseases, their colds and AIDS and whatever else they have, they give it to the Indians start to die. And they get really mad, and they try to kill them. But then they just feel so bad for them because they're white and they're sick and they almost died that they don't kill them. And so they just end up making them doctors and trying to make them feel better by, like, cutting them open and, like, sucking poisons out of them and burning them and all this other weird, creepy voodoo crap. And then kind of just ends right there. And that was the end of it. And then Rae-Ann has another story for you about this dude on a boat. It was pretty cool.
Okay. So, I'm going to talk about Equiano, who was a prince, and then he got kidnapped when he was 11 with his sister and sold on the slave trade. And him and his sister got separated. And when he was on the boat, there was a bunch of people chained together down there in, like, the little bottom of the boat. And he found some people from his tribe and talked to them and asked him what was going on because he was afraid of the white people because he'd never seen them before and he didn't understand their language, and he was getting sick because of the smell underneath on the bottom of the boat, and didn't want to talk to the white man or eat anything, and he just wanted to jump off, but he knew if he did, he'd get killed. And even though he was 11, that was almost an option for him. But then he got sold to an explorer and went to the North Pole and explored and fought as a soldier beside him, and then got sold to another guy, a Quaker, and since Quakers are all nice and cool and stuff, taught him to read and write and how to run a business, and so eventually Equiano bought his freedom, woohoo, and then went to London and talked to all the Londonish people over there.
And, I love your vocabulary.
And got them to not buy stuff like sugar and all that good jazz that slaves had been making, because then they were just helping people keep people enslaved. So he was a pretty cool guy.
Who was?
Equiano. And
this is for English 3.
So yeah, that's pretty much the end of our story. And we will see you again tomorrow and Friday.
Oh, we gotta do it again tomorrow too?